And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gilbert versus Roberts. Step forward, please.
Housekeeper Deborah Gilbert is suing her cousin, grill cook Danielle Roberts, for damage to her belongings. Deborah says that while babysitting Danielle's children, one of them set the room on fire.
According to your complaint, Miss Gilbert, you took in your cousin and her children into your home because they really had no place to go.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're suing her because you claim that her 2-year-old child started a fire in your bedroom, and you want her to compensate you for the damage that that fire caused.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened on the night of this fire. Where was Miss Roberts?
At work at the Waffle House.
And who was watching her children?
Her children were home with me.
And how old are her children?
The twins are 12.
12-year-old twins and the 2-year-old boy.
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me what happened with the 2-year-old.
When Miss Roberts left to go to work, she put the kids in the room that they slept in. He was to watch TV while the twins did their homework. However, they could not control him. At that time, one of my grandchildren was there visiting. She and I were in the bed, the twins.
How old was your grandchild who was visiting?
She was 2 also.
So your 2-year-old granddaughter was in your bed?
Yes, she was in my bed asleep.
Go ahead.
The twins kept screaming and hollering, and finally they said, Auntie, you need to get Rondarius because he won't stop. He just keep acting bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they came again and said, Auntie, you need to let Rondarius come in here with you. We got to do our homework. So I said, okay, just bring him and let him sit right there in the chair. One of the twins, Tanika, put him in the recliner. And I said, Rondarius, be quiet. I said, because Auntie is going to sleep. And he would just sit there in the chair, and he still made noise. And I guess sometime or another, I dozed off. The next thing I know is that my daughter came into the room and said, get up, it's a fire.
What started the fire?
I had up on a table, I was burning a scented candle. And I don't know if he put paper or if he put some clothes on the fire and started the fire.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is he was able to reach that candle.
Yes, he was.
Then you should have watched him more carefully.
It was not my responsibility.
Yes, ma'am, it was your responsibility.
No, it was not.
Oh, yes, it was,
No, it
Miss
was
Gilbert.
not.
I'm speaking. You're not.
Okay.
She's at work. You assumed responsibility for your 2-year-old cousin when you said, come on into the room, put him in the chair, and you've got 2 babies in there, 2 years old. What you are doing, burning a candle, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. Why you would sue this lady, you're lucky she's not suing you. You're the adult. You're supposed to make sure that the children are safe. You fell asleep in a room with a lighted candle with 2 2-year-olds, and one of them was awake. One of them was brought into your room because his sisters couldn't control him. And you tell him to go sit in the recliner and behave while you fell asleep? Miss Gilbert, don't be ridiculous. Your case is dismissed.
Yeah, this is case number 294 on the calendar in the matter of Mucci versus Doherty. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. And have a seat.
How old are you, sir?
22, Your Honor.
Are you an only child?
No, I'm not.
Are you the baby in the family?
Yes, I am.
You know, I could have almost predicted that.
Yeah?
Yes, I could have.
Sorry, Your Honor.
You still live at home?
Yes.
This is just sort of research for me.
Uh-huh.
Now let's get to the lawsuit.
Okay.
He was driving your car
Yes, he was.
with your daughter in it.
Yes.
They were friends, boyfriend, girlfriend. He fell asleep. He wrecked the car.
Yes, he did.
He says it's not his fault. So I want to hear why it's not his fault. Go ahead.
I don't think it's all my fault. I think it's part my fault that I wrecked the car, but I don't think I'm...
Which part? First tell me when it happened.
I couldn't tell you the exact date, Your Honor. But
Give me a month.
month, March, I believe.
Beginning, middle, or end?
Beginning of March, Your Honor.
It would be March.
It was May 19th.
It was May 19th. That's close to March. They both start with an M. Okay. How did it come about that you were driving the plaintiff's car?
On the night of questioned, I was in bed sleeping. I received a phone call from Jessica stating that she was getting off work around 2 a.m. and she needed me to do her a favor. So she asked if she can come get me and go for a ride.
You were sound asleep. What time did she call you?
Around 2 o'clock in the morning.
And what time had you gone to sleep?
Maybe 12 o'clock. I work at 7 that morning.
Okay. And you were due to get up at 7?
Yes.
So why didn't you tell Jessica, don't stop by on your way home from work? You're driving, go directly home. I have to get up early in the morning.
I guess I'm a sucker for cute girls.
Yes. And you were just going to go out and do what at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Just, I guess, talk. I don't know. We were just...
You were just going to talk?
She was bored. She wanted some companion. She wasn't sleepy.
Let me explain something to you, sir. You're 22 years old? You didn't get out of bed because you thought you were going to talk at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right. So she came by your house, and you got dressed.
Yes.
And you went outside.
Yes.
And what happened when you went outside?
I got in the car. She was driving at the time. We drove around for a little bit, and then she was getting sleepy, so she asked me to drive.
When you drove around, you're just driving around?
Basically, yes.
Wow.
Well, at that point in time, she really can't come to my house, and I really can't go to her house, so...
Why is that?
Differences in the past.
Differences with whom?
My family and her family.
Oh. So it's like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, sort of.
So you're driving around, then she's doing the driving, and then
Yes.
what happened?
She started to get sleepy also, so she asked me if I can drive. I told her that at the time I was also sleepy, that I didn't want to drive, but I gave in and decided to drive. I thought I was stronger than she was at the time, so
Well, that was a misjudgment
yes,
on your part.
it really was.
Because you fell asleep.
Yes.
What did you hit?
I hit a bus sign, a trash can, and 3 parking meters.
Lucky you didn't hit 3 people.
Yes.
Is the story he's telling me pretty accurate?
Almost.
Well, why don't you come up here and finish it? You're Jessica?
Yes.
All right, Jessica. First, why did you call him at 2 o'clock in the morning?
I had gotten off work and wanted to go get something to eat.
Yes.
So I called him and he said he would come with me. So I came to his house, picked him up. We went on our way to get something to eat. I was tired, realized that we didn't want to go, and he offered to drive.
You were on your way
never
downtown
asked.
and you realized you didn't want to go.
I didn't want to go anymore. I was really tired myself. And he noticed and offered to drive. Get in the car, I'm sleeping. The next thing I know, I wake up and there's smoke everywhere, and I look behind me and there's all types of damage to the sidewalk and to the car.
What kind of car were you driving?
A Nissan Altima,
What year?
96.
Was the car fixed?
It's beyond repair. I have pictures and I have estimates. The estimate's more than the car's worth.
Do you have the Blue Book value on the car?
No, I don't.
Well, I need that.
Okay.
Would you see if you can get the Blue Book for me on this
Sure.
car? Thank you. We have a price?
$2,775.
Now, Tracy,
Yes, Your Honor.
she was not smart to call you at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I wasn't smart to leave my house at 2 in the morning either.
That's right. Because you got more than the hamburger that you bargained for.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you're not responsible.
I understand.
And when I read your answer, I said, I'm going to make scrambled eggs out of it.
Sorry.
But you look like a nice enough young man,
Thank you.
so I'm not going to make scrambled eggs out of you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm giving them $2,775 in a judgment because it was your fault. If somebody asks you to do something and you're not equipped to do it because you're tired, then you say, no, I can't drive. Let's pull over and call a cab. Pull over and call your mother. Pull over and call my father, or we'll walk home. Better yet, you don't go out at all. But since you made all of those cumulative mistakes, you have to pay for it. Judgment to the plaintiff in the amount of $2,775. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
For a while there, he thought it wasn't his fault, but I think he's changed his mind.
I learned a lot of lessons in the result of this.
I was a little upset.
Don't answer your phone late at night if you're sleeping.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Munoz versus Madrigal, step forward, please.
Records clerk Rosalinda Munoz is suing shop owner Lupe Madrigal for the cost of 4 dresses and a photographer. Rosalinda says the dresses for her daughter's celebration were the wrong color.
Ms. Munoz, according to what I've read, your daughter was celebrating her 15th birthday. This is your daughter. And it is your custom to have sort of a coming out party, a big party, when a young lady reaches 15. Is that right?
Yes.
What is it called?
A quinceañera.
And you planned a large party, and as a matter of fact, there were several hundred people coming to the party.
Yes.
You commissioned the defendant to make dresses for your daughter's friends.
Yes.
And she agreed, and you came to a price. What was the price for the dresses?
The green dresses that we originally ordered were 120 each.
And how many did you order?
There were to be 11.
Your complaint is that 4 of the dresses came back in the wrong color.
Correct.
And you want that money back.
Right.
And you also want back the money that you paid to the photographer, because according to you, the pictures were not as you anticipated they would be because of the different color dresses. Ms. Madrigal says that she does in fact acknowledge the different colors. Even I could see, are those the 2 different colors?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That they were totally different colors. She says slightly off shade. That's really bad. And that you shouldn't make such a big deal about it. That's basically a defense. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there any more that I left out?
We ordered the dresses.
You ordered the dresses from someone else. You didn't make them.
Exactly. No, we did not make the dresses.
Okay. Can I see those dresses, please? These were dresses that she was not making. She was buying. She was the middle person.
Right.
Where did the dresses come from, Miss Madrigal?
From Texas.
Well, they are lovely dresses, but I certainly see what you mean, that they're totally the wrong color.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these were there? 4?
4. Mm-hmm.
Did the girls wear them?
Yes, they did.
Can I see the photographs, please?
Yes.
Why don't you go up and stand next to your mom? Tell me your name.
Juliana.
Juliana? Bird, you can give these back to the plaintiff. Oh, these pictures are lovely. Juliana, it looks to me as if you had a great time at this party, did you?
Well, yes.
Your dress is beautiful. Your dress was white?
Yeah.
Why do you think that the defendant should be responsible for what you paid to the photographer?
Because the pictures and the video are what's left to us as memories of the event.
Why do you think it's her fault that the manufacturer sent the wrong dresses?
I don't think it's her fault that the manufacturer sent the wrong dresses. What I think is that she should have did something for us. She gave these girls their dresses the day of the event. They arrived 2 days prior to the event.
Did the girls go to pick them up 2 days prior to the event?
No, they went to look at them 2 days prior to the event.
Right.
And pick them up the day of the event.
Well, that's not her fault.
That's not her fault, but she could have did something as far as the color. She has a boutique, it's a store. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It doesn't...
Ms. Munoz, she's not responsible for your photographer. You purchased the dresses from her, from a manufacturer. She was the middle person. Manufacturer sent 4 of the dresses in the wrong color. You had an option at that point. Your option was not to take the dresses and go out and find other dresses, or take the dresses and use them.
Mm-hmm.
Did she give you a discount on the 4 dresses?
Yes, she did.
What was the discount?
Half price.
So you actually paid $60 a piece for those dresses?
Correct.
Did you pay for, Miss Madrigal, those 4 dresses?
Yes, I did. And I had ordered shawls, and not only that, but the shawls did not come in. What I did is I ran around all the fabric stores until I found the color. That's when I told Mrs. Munoz that I had found the color of the fabric if she wanted us to make the dresses. She told me yes at one time, so I told the seamstress we're going to have to stay until we're done with these dresses. I gave all the girls free alterations for the air, and I gave the girls a 50% off those light color dresses.
Well, what did she say when you said, I can make the dresses and we'll stay all night?
She said there was not enough time.
She said there was not enough time.
Yes, she did.
Anyway, the pictures look beautiful. You had a wonderful time? Sure you did. Yeah. Don't tell me that because some of your girlfriends wore white dresses, you were miserable the whole day. I mean, that's ridiculous. You don't want me to think you're ridiculous, do you? No, of course not. You had a wonderful time. That's what you're supposed to have. You're not supposed to get bogged down with little things that really, in the scheme of life, are meaningless. You had a wonderful time. And if a dress is going to make you miserable, then your priorities are all off. Do you understand that?
But my friends, when they see the dresses, they don't want to come in my quinceañera.
Listen, if your friends are being stupid, that doesn't mean you have to be stupid. Right? Huh? If a member of your family couldn't be there because of illness or because of something else, that's a reason to be sad. Because the dress is the wrong color? Get your priorities straight.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
she didn't want my boyfriend there. If my boyfriend came to the house, he had to go directly to my room. He couldn't sit on our furniture. He couldn't sit in the living room. She just didn't like him. She didn't want him there.
Grow up.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosalinda Munoz says shop owner Lupe Madrigal owes for the cost of 4 dresses. Rosalinda says they were the wrong color.
Seems to me, Miss Munoz, that the defendant did everything that was reasonable under the circumstances. She ran around, she made the shawls herself, charged you half price for the dresses. You took the dresses, you used them. You used them for the event.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The shawls and this off-white color don't match. They're a little bit different. They almost match, but they're different.
What are you going to do with the dresses?
You can see that in the pictures.
What are you going to do with the dresses?
Nothing.
What are you going to do with the green dresses?
Nothing.
Now you'll do the same nothing with the white dresses.
Right.
Miss Munoz, get a life. Listen, and don't teach your daughter the wrong thing. This lady did the best she could under the circumstances. If you didn't want the dresses, all you had to do was say, listen, I'll go out and find other dresses. I'm not paying you at all for the dresses. I'm not using them.
But, Your Honor, I was in a time restraint there. I had
Of course
2
you
days.
were.
This event took me over a year to plan. Over a year. It's like a wedding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Yeah, you're only 15 once.
Exactly.
You're only 20 once. You're only 21 once. You're only 25
You're
once.
right.
You're only 50 once.
You're right. But this event was ruined for my daughter because of this mistake.
I am going to tell you something. If what you tell me is that the event was ruined because of the dress, I am telling you that you and your daughter don't have your priorities straight. If a whole event is ruined because the color of a dress is off, you and your daughter better sit down and reevaluate what's important in life. This is not. You use the dresses for their intended purpose.
We had no choice.
No, you had a choice. Your choice was to go and get other dresses.
Not in 2 days, we couldn't.
Yes, you could have, and you would have had to pay for them. These dresses you got half price. It was a bargain. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
After a year of planning, we only had 2 days, so we had no choice.
I did my best.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime event.
We worked over hours, you know, trying to get all the alterations done, and we did it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Buchanan versus Cable. Step forward, please.
20-year-old office manager Jennifer Buchanan is suing her former roommate, 19-year-old salesperson Desiree Cable, for breaking their apartment lease. Desiree says Jennifer was acting like a mother.
Miss Buchanan, I assume that you and the defendant were friends when you signed this 1-year lease on an apartment. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you sign the lease?
On February 7th, 2003.
And rent on the apartment was how much?
It's $880 a month.
Is it 1 bedroom or 2?
2.
Were you both working?
Yes.
Great. Okay. And according to your complaint, Miss Cable at some point early on in the lease moved out. She, according to you, moved back with her boyfriend. And she continued to pay the rent on the apartment, despite the fact that she was not living there, for how many months?
4 to 6 months.
When did you move out?
I moved out probably the end of March.
So April, May, June, July, and August. 5 months you paid rent,
Right.
correct?
No, August 1st, she stopped paying everything.
So she paid rent for 4 months?
Correct.
And you want her to be responsible for her share of the remainder of the lease?
Correct.
What did you do to get another roommate?
I never did. I mean, we just met and we came into this on an agreement
No,
together.
I understand that's what you're saying to me. She moved out of the apartment in March.
Correct.
You know that she's not moving back because she's living with her boyfriend. What did you do to do the right thing and try to get another roommate?
I can't get another roommate. We came into this, it's for the first 12 months of the lease, it is based on your income. So there was not anybody, I mean, I would have to find somebody specifically within her income restrictions in order to move in because mine didn't change.
What did you do to try to get another roommate?
Nothing.
You have to. Why did you move out?
She was acting like my mother. She didn't want my boyfriend there. If my boyfriend came to the house, he had to go directly to my room. He couldn't sit on our furniture. He couldn't sit in the living room. She just didn't like him. She didn't want him there. So I moved out.
Why didn't you like a boyfriend?
I never had a problem with her boyfriend, to my knowledge.
In any event, she wanted to move back. According to your answer, Ms. Buchanan said that she had a new roommate starting in August.
She said that her boyfriend lease ran up at the end of July, and she was going to ask him to move in.
When did she tell you that?
Probably beginning of April, she had mentioned it.
Listen, you have a responsibility to mitigate damages, but she also has a responsibility, if she's moving out, to find another roommate for you. Except you told her your boyfriend was moving in.
No, I didn't tell her he was moving in. Mentioned it, that there could be a possibility, but the leasing department said no, that the income wouldn't work.
When did you tell her that?
I came home and there was a note saying that she's not paying. I never gave her a yes or no answer. So I said,
well, you better find a roommate, madam.
Excuse me?
You better find a roommate. She's not paying any more rent.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, she's not paying any more rent. You have a responsibility to mitigate the damages. You allowed her to move out. You said, my boyfriend may be moving in. His lease is up at the end of July, which means that she didn't look for anybody else because she assumed that your boyfriend was going to move in. Miss Cable did the right thing. She acted honorably in paying rent, even though she wasn't living there for 4 months. 4 months is a long enough period of time for you to try to find somebody else. You did not. That's not her problem. Grow up. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out. That's case number 326 on the calendar in the matter of Marion versus Lauterbach. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss Marion, you and the defendant were together, according to your complaint, for 9 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And for a good part of that period, you lived together.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is this?
This is my mother, Your Honor.
The two of you lived together in his mother's house, at least for part of the time.
Yes, Your Honor.
For how many years?
We lived in her house from November of '02 to March of '03.
And prior to that, where did you live?
In Texas, Your Honor.
Just the two of you?
Yes.
Have you ever been married?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
I'll be 30 next month, 29.
And how old are you?
30, Your Honor.
Your lawsuit, Miss Marion, claims that when the two of you separated, when you moved out of his mother's house, he retained some property that belongs to you. That was your property.
Yes, Your Honor.
You want it back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lauterbach says that you took whatever you wanted, whatever you left was either his property or property that the two of you accumulated during the course of your relationship, and he is counterclaiming. His counterclaim is for damage that your dogs caused to his mother's landscaping, and he said that there was some sort of an agreement that the landscaping would be refurbished by you after you left, or if and when your dogs did any damage to the property. I read Mr. Lauterbach's answer, and I read it very carefully, so I have to ask you a few questions just for my own curiosity that really have only a marginal piece of interest for the case.
Okay.
But for me, it's fascinating.
Okay.
You look like an intelligent young woman. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lauterbach says that about 6 years ago, you had told him you wanted to marry, you were interested in marrying and starting a family, and he said to you 6 years ago, I'm not interested in marriage.
Right.
And the reason that the two of you separated recently, by the way, what month did you separate?
August, Your Honor.
The reason you separated and the reason you left is because you once again said to him, I want to get married, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
My clock's ticking. I want to get married. And once again, Mr. Lauterbach said, listen, I don't think you heard me the first time, dear. I told you I wasn't interested.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
That's about it. Yes, Your Honor.
So the first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to tell you and everybody else who may be within earshot of these words. When a man says, I'm not interested in getting married, they usually mean it.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
And unfortunately, life is not fair. Women have a much narrower blossom, for want of a better word. You see, he can go out there and when he's 65, he can make a baby. He may not be able to walk it around the block, but he can start a family at 65.
Sure.
I mean, Charlie Chaplin was, 106 when he decided to have children. Women don't have that advantage.
Right.
Right? So he wasted a good deal of your time. To his credit, he told you he was wasting your time.
Yes, Your Honor. I thought he might change. My fault. My fault.
They don't change.
I know.
They only get worse.
I know this now. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Just my own curiosity. Could you stand up just for a second? Who else lives in your home with you?
My husband and my youngest son.
How long have you been married?
23 years.
You think that they get better as they get older?
Do they get better? No.
You just get used to them. What property do you want?
I would like my NASCAR collection back.
NASCAR collection! Before you answer this question, you're going to tell me that this is property you accumulated together?
Mostly, yes.
I want you to watch my face very carefully. And just think of the 9 years of her life that you wasted. She gets the car collection. You got it? You got it?
Okay.
Thank you.
What else?
There is a fine bone china collection that was given to me because I took care of a lady's elderly mother who has since passed.
He doesn't look like he eats off fine bone china.
No.
Right?
I have no idea where these dishes are or what they are.
I can tell you where they are.
Just a second. She's going to tell us.
Okay.
It's in the holiday closet in the hallway in the back in a white box marked fragile all over it.
Know where that is?
I can look.
We're going to find it. What else?
There is a camera that's
What
an
kind of
Olympus camera. I have the box, Your Honor. He gave that back to me, but no camera.
Where's the camera?
The camera is mine at the house
Well, tell me how it's yours.
because I bought it with my money.
For you or for the two of you?
For me.
He purchased that camera for me in 2000 for my, how old am I? 27th birthday.
Does that sound right?
No.
When did you purchase the camera?
It was back in Dallas. As far as a date, I have no idea. I wish I had the receipt.
Well, she does. She said if you don't remember, she remembers. She says you bought it for her birthday.
Okay.
And you gave it to her for her birthday, and you don't remember when you bought it.
No, I don't remember when I bought it.
She remembers.
Okay.
She gets the camera.
Okay.
Along with the china and the NASCAR collection.
Okay.
Don't get piggish. What else?
There's a pink doghouse, Your Honor, that is for my dogs. And
pink doghouse.
Yes.
She's welcome to that.
What else? What else? Come on, wrap it up. So far, you're batting 1,000.
I'm sorry.
Then we're going to get to the landscaping.
There's an e-machine computer, Your Honor. Now, this is a little, I'm not sure how this is going to go because...
If you're not sure, don't go there. But so far, you're batting 1,000.
I know, but his mother and I went to Walmart, and I purchased the computer, but his mother put it on her credit card, and I paid her 2 days later with cash. But she claims
Did she
that
pay you
I
back?
never...
No.
Well, that has nothing to do with him, you see. That's between the
Yes,
two
I
of
know.
you. So, next time, if you feel like suing her, you can. What's next?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You know the dogs were coming?
I told her she had to get rid of them.
Oh, you did, but
Yes.
you moved in anyway.
I wasn't going to leave her by
Just
herself.
a second. You moved in anyway.
Yeah.
With the dogs.
Yes, with the dogs.
And later today,
I had made it known to her that I could not have afforded to buy the car and an engagement ring.
He said, why buy the milk when you can get the cow for free? He had no intentions of getting married.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosella Marion says ex-boyfriend Jason Lauterbach owes for the return of a NASCAR collection, fine china, and a ring she won in Las Vegas. Jason says Rosella is mad because he won't marry her.
What else?
Oh, there's a mini refrigerator, Your Honor, that I purchased at Lowe's. I have the receipt for that.
Mini refrigerator.
I have that. She bought that for me upon my return to Albuquerque so I could put snacks I liked in my room.
In your room?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't share a room with her?
It was our room, but she said it was for me.
It was our
That's why
room.
I kept it.
How much did you pay for it? $50?
80, Your Honor.
Forget it. What's next? What's next?
That's it, Your Honor.
Good, perfect. We've resolved your case. All those things, go back to her. Now let's get to your landscaping. Okay, I have a few questions for you. You moved in together in your mother's house in the year 2002?
I'm not good with dates. I think so,
2002.
yes.
Is that right? November of 2002 is what you said?
I moved in 2002, Your Honor.
Okay.
He moved in March 2003.
That's right.
So you moved in with his mother before he moved in with his mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any arrangement with his mother about your dogs?
Yes, ma'am. I asked her several times because I was very concerned. I have a Great Dane, Your Honor, not a small dog. I have a Pit Bull Chow Mix, Your Honor, that's 88 pounds. I have a Mutt, that's 43. That's like over 250 pounds a dog. And she said, fine, I don't care what it takes, just as long as you guys get back here. She was very excited for us to get back. So, yes,
Okay.
she agreed.
Fine. What?
When I could say something?
Right now.
Okay.
Did you welcome into the house with the dogs?
Well, did I welcome? I wasn't going to stop her from moving in because of the dogs.
Good.
Okay.
Perfect.
But I did not, as far as just saying that she could bring these huge animals into my home and that it would be okay, you know, just to cause damage. It's more than just the dogs. It was also cats inside the house.
You invited her.
Well, I did.
Good.
I did.
Good. Have a seat.
Okay.
And they ripped up the garden?
The yard, the entire
ripped up
backyard.
the yard? Yeah. And they have been doing that since November of 2000. Shh. Okay. And they have been doing that since November of 2002.
Yes, ma'am. I do have
What kind
pictures.
of? I'm not interested in pictures.
Okay.
What do you do for a living?
HVAC tech.
What is that?
Air conditioning, heating and AC.
So, you work with your hands?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take care of your mother's yard on the weekends. Go get some sod, go get some seed, rake it up, take care of it. Do you understand?
No,
This was your problem together. You lived together before with the dogs, I assume, in Texas, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And you were moving to be close to your mother? And you knew the dogs were coming? You knew the dogs were coming?
I told her she had to get rid of them.
Oh, you did, but
Yes.
you moved in anyway.
I wasn't going to leave her by
Just
herself.
a second. You moved in anyway.
Yeah.
Good. With the dogs. With the
Against-
dogs.
Against my, yeah. Yes, with the dogs.
Deal with it.
Okay.
Got it? Property within 5 days. Thank you very much. That's all.
I didn't get to defend myself at all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't know what happened.
I thought men would change, and I've learned they don't.
I have 3 letters of her cheating on me. Speaking of wasting 9 years.
I told him that I wanted to get married and have children, and he said no.
I've got another one from Dear Abby telling her to seek mental help.
Men don't change.
And now the next case.
Parties on in Cabo versus Butterworth. Step forward, please.
Postal worker Diego Cabo is suing his ex-girlfriend, Treva Butterworth, for unpaid rent and for the down payment on a car. Treva has a countersuit for the unpaid balance on the vehicle.
Mr. Rancabo, you dated Miss Butterworth briefly, according to what I've read, and I gathered that while you were dating her, her former boyfriend was incarcerated. Is that true?
Yes.
And she had run into some hard times, and it's your claim that you loaned her some money to pay her rent, and that you also gave her an engagement car. Because you were going to buy her an engagement ring. She said, I don't want a ring. I can't use a ring, but I could use a car. So you put the down payment on a car, and since it was instead of an engagement ring, you think she should give you the down payment back.
Correct.
Ms. Butterworth says that she received those things from you. Both were gifts. The car was a gift, the rent was a gift, and she is counterclaiming. You ready for this one? She's counterclaiming for the rest of the payments that she has to make on the car because she says it was a gift and that you should, despite the fact that your relationship is over, continue to pay for the car as you promised you would. That's your counterclaim.
Yes.
Okay, so I need some dates from you. You started to date Miss Butterworth when, sir?
Approximately by my birthday, which was January 6th of this year.
When did your boyfriend go to jail, Miss Butterworth?
He was incarcerated for 18 months. It was 2002.
Starting when?
March of 2002.
Okay, you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children?
I have 3.
Did they all 3 children live with you?
Yes.
Are any of the children of the boyfriend who was in jail?
Yes, 1.
The youngest?
Yes.
Is this the boyfriend?
Yes.
So, when was the boyfriend released from jail?
July 27th.
When was the car purchased?
On July 11th.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding that, Mr. Rancabo.
Okay, well, a family member had the car and was looking to sell the vehicle. We both took a look at it and decided that we wanted to buy the car.
Were you living with her at the time?
Yes, I was.
Go ahead.
And so on that date, we went over to her parents' house and we signed the contract. I made payment on the car and we took possession of the car.
So?
I had made it known to her that I could not have afforded to buy the car and an engagement ring, so I had asked her which one did she want. She said it was okay to get the car and that would be her engagement ring.
Yes, go ahead.
He said, why buy the milk when you can get the cow for free?
Why what?
Why buy the milk when you can get the cow for free? He had no intentions of getting married.
Why don't you tell me your version of what he said to you when he bought the car?
First of all, my dad had sold his car and I detailed it for him. And he was like, oh, wow, if I had the money, I'd buy that for you. And he wanted quite a bit more. He didn't want to have payments. So when my stepbrother was selling his car, he says, oh, that's a great car. He went over, he took a look at it on his own with my stepbrother, came back, that's great, it's immaculate, it's, oh, what a steal, he's going to give it to me for $2,500 since I'm buying it for you. And I was like, well, did you drive it? He goes, oh, no, I didn't even get in the car and start it up. It looks so good. I just knew I had to have it.
All right. So July 11th, he purchased the car. Boyfriend got out of jail July 27th. How long did it take for the boyfriend to move back in with you?
He still hasn't moved back in with me.
Well, he's here today. Where did he sleep last night?
He stayed the night with me last night.
Excuse me?
He stayed the night with me last night.
Of course. So, whether he moved in with you or whether he didn't move, how long did it take him to come back into your life?
I believe he contacted me a day or two after he was released.
And then?
He wanted to see his son.
And then how long did it take for him to move out of your life?
It was probably 3 or 4 weeks.
And by that time, you've had the car for about 3 weeks.
Correct.
Right? I just want to know about your counterclaim. You don't get the money. We don't have engagement cars, sir. You have engagement rings and you have cars. There's no issue that this was a loan. This was not a loan that you made for her. It was some sort of a hybrid of something. I don't know what it was. You certainly didn't take into consideration that he was getting out of jail July 27th and you were going to be nudged out of bid. So the car is a total wash. Your down payment, sir, is gone. Finished. Over. Got it? Now let's talk about the rent. You say she owes you for rent. Tell me about it.
Well, the month after we started dating, the defendant had made numerous references that
Look at me when you look at me when you're telling me the story, sir, so I can tell whether you're telling me the truth.
Yeah, she kept insisting that we move in together because she didn't want me to live out of 2 houses. She kept
Was she working at the time?
No, Your Honor.
She needed somebody to pay the bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was a short term because he was getting out of jail in July.
Yes,
Keep going.
But she had already given me or sent me letters that told me that she was never going to get involved with her boyfriend again, that she actually sent a letter to him while he was in prison saying that it was over.
He didn't believe her.
I believe it.
And she didn't mean it.
I did mean it.
Keep going.
When the March rent was due, the defendant didn't have the money to pay the rent, so...
Were you living there with her?
Yes, I was.
So you paid the rent?
Yes.
So? You think she made a fool out of you?
Yes, I do.
She probably did. What does that have to do with the court? You moved in with her. You paid the rent. You knew she wasn't working. You were supporting her.
Correct.
And the 3 children who lived with her, including his child if she wasn't working. Then he came back. And she said, toodaloo, go. Then you say to yourself, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to be stupid again. She took me for a ride. But that doesn't mean that courts compensate you for that. Do you understand that, Mr. Incabo?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Butterworth, do you honestly believe that a court is going to give you the payments for the car that remain outstanding?
I think that he is responsible for that car, yes. He gave me that car. He didn't give me that car half paid for.
He gave you the car in anticipation of the 2 of you being together.
Mm-hmm.
That was not your intention.
Many, 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 many things.
Good.
Many, many months.
Then, Miss Butterworth, then I want you to...
him,
am I speaking? When I'm speaking, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
If he gave you many, 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 many things while you were together, and he's not saying, I want those things back. Mm-hmm. Those were gifts. We haven't spoken about those many, many things. You don't want to be responsible for the car payments anymore?
No.
Good, then give him back the car, and he'll take over the rest of the payments. Do you want to do that?
No, I don't.
Then make the payments. Thank you very much.
Can I tell you something?
No.
Okay.
Yes, it's case number 112 on the calendar in the matter of Ross versus Westfield. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Mr. Ross, reading between the lines in your complaint, I gather that you and the defendant dated briefly while she was separated from her husband.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that during that time, you loaned her a television set and a telephone that had a caller ID on it. And you want those items back.
That's
what this case is about. Ms. Westfield says that you gave her absolutely nothing during the brief time that you dated or were in a relationship, that she went back to her husband and that she, in fact, loaned you $300 for some reason that she's going to tell me, and that you also stole a ring that belonged to her husband that she wants back.
Right, yes.
Okay, so first tell me when you met her, Mr. Ross, and how you met her.
I met Christine in late December. I met her at a gas station. She had a military uniform on, and I was in the military. I was in the United States Navy, and that kind of sparked up the conversation. So she was pumping her gas, and we was talking about the Navy, and I said, hi, how you doing? Got to talking, and asked her, could I take her out to dinner? She said that would be fine. And then she gave me a pager number at that time. She said, you can't call my house because I'm still living with my husband, so she gave me the pager number to call her.
But she told you she was separated from her
She said that at that time she told me that she was separated, but then she said her husband still lives at the house.
Okay. So far, is that right?
We met in early January. That was the only discrepancy, but yes.
Other than that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and at that time I would call her. She would come visit me. She came and visited me for the first time on New Year's Eve. So we spent New Year's Eve together, and at that time she spent the night at that time. She complained about her husband being mean to her, and I said, hey, you might get in trouble. So she said she's gonna stay at her sister's house. That's what she told him. She's gonna stay at her mom's house, but she was staying at my house. She was at my house at that time. During the period of the time we dated on and off, I spent the night at her house. She spent the night at my house.
So you mean ultimately her husband left the house?
Eventually he left. After about 3 weeks he had left, and then I started spending the night over there because she was scared. She was scared because he had threatened her with a gun. Said that he would kill her, pointed a gun at her. So she was scared for her safety. So she said, I didn't want to go over there, Jan. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't want to go over there. But, you know, and I'll be honest with you, because she said he had a gun, because he's some kind of security guard or something. And I said, hey, shh,
please.
But I've been in that situation before. I've been on his side before. I've been a guy that was kind of rough towards women, but I learned my ways. I was taught better than that.
All right, let's get to the television and that cell phone.
Okay, at that time, they was going through the divorce. What had happened was he had the police come over there and take the stuff. He took a fax machine, he took a TV, and at that time, she called me. I said, how can he come get stuff? Because when I went through my divorce, I had to wait for my divorce procedure.
Okay, so took the stuff, and what did you say?
I said, I think you need to see a judge before he can take any of your stuff. But she said, I'm tired of him. I just wanted to get his stuff. He can take whatever he wants. She doesn't want to waste any more time with him. So at that time, she said her daughter had a PlayStation 2. You have to have a certain TV to play that. So I had that TV where you can plug the adapter. So I said, you can use that TV, but I'm going to need to get that back. Because she said she was going to get her income taxes or something like that and buy a whole new TV set. So at that time, I had brought the TV over. Her husband kept calling her, hanging up, threatening her on the phone. So I said, hey, use the call ID, because I was trying to look out for her, Yana. I said, use the call ID. I said, anytime he calls, you can get him on the call ID. You can mark it, show it to the police
station.
So
she didn't have a caller ID.
She didn't have a call ID on her phone. So I said, you can use that. But I said, I'm going to need all this back, Christine, because I don't know, Christine was going back and forth. She said that she loved her husband, said she liked me. She kept going back and forth, so I didn't want to.
So that's how she got the stuff.
Right.
Okay. All right, Miss Westfield. Is what you're telling me Mr. Ross is suffering from some sort of psychosis? You believe he's suffering from a psychosis?
I do. Because ever since I had told him I didn't want to talk to him, he's made my life miserable.
I don't care if he's made your life miserable, Miss Westfield. I want to know about the television set.
I've never received a television or a TV. I know we were talking about it, but he didn't have a car, so he could never bring it over. So I never got it.
I don't think I believe that. Well, because if you were going to make up a story about owing money, owing property, you wouldn't make up a story about things that are so cheap as a television and a cell phone. You would say she said she needed money for a lawyer. I gave her $1,500. She needed money to pay bills. I lent her $2,000. This story that your husband came, cleaned out the house, took the TV, all sounds right to me. And he doesn't look like a psycho.
Well, Your Honor, my husband never took anything out of our house. We never went that far in our divorce for division of property.
I didn't say that you went that far in division of property, but that doesn't mean he didn't take things out of the house, Miss Westfield. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Now, you want to tell me about your counterclaim?
My counterclaim is that I gave him $300 in cash to fix his car because he said my husband had did something to a wire and made it stop.
When was that?
This was in February.
Well, tell me about it, Miss Westfield.
So I gave him the $300.
No, tell me about the whole incident. He came to you and said...
Curtis had came to me and said that his car wasn't working when one day before it was working. So then the next day he came and said it wasn't working.
Try looking at me right here.
And he said that my husband was messing around with his car, and I didn't agree with him at that time. But his car wasn't, it wouldn't start. So I felt obligated, because things were getting all out of control, felt obligated to give him some money so his car could, he could get it fixed. So I gave him $300 in cash. He said he would pay me when he got his first unemployment check. And then one day he came over to my house and I was showing him my husband's rings. And I don't know why I showed him these rings, but I did. And he was like looking at them, and then we had a conversation, and I wanted to prove to him that I wasn't going to go back with my husband. So I had shot one ring and threw it in the garbage, and then I had went back into my room to put the other rings away. So then when I came back, we had a conversation, he left. Then the next day I noticed he had my husband's ring on.
So you took your husband's ring, you were so angry, and you threw it in the garbage?
Right, just one of them.
One of them?
Right.
After you threw the ring in the garbage, what did you do with the garbage?
Well, at that time it wasn't full, but in like a day or two, I'm sure I just threw it out.
So, Miss Westfield, it would be fair to say that you discarded that ring.
Correct.
He took it after you discarded it.
Right.
That's abandoned property, Miss Westfield. You abandoned that property. Therefore, Mr. Ross was entitled to take it. It's like if you put a sofa out on the curb for trash to take, and somebody says, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I owe her about maybe $35, and I give her that right now.
Take it out of your wallet.
It's like $30. Or did I say 35? 35.
You did say 35.
And later today.
In the morning when we woke up, we turned the TV on, but there was a big red blob in the middle.
What did Cameron tell you?
That the oldest one slammed him against the TV.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Ross says that during his affair with Christine Westfield, he loaned her the use of a television and a cordless phone. Curtis claims she refuses to give them back.
You threw his ring in the garbage. He took the ring out of the garbage. You didn't say to me, right away I went looking for the ring because I realized I made a mistake.
Well, that was my intention to do.
No. What you just told me that Miss Westfield, listen to me carefully.
Mm-hmm.
What you said was the garbage wasn't full. 2 or 3 days later, I took it and threw it away. You never even looked for the ring in the garbage. That's what you told me, right? Don't change your story now. Mm-hmm. You're not entitled to the ring back. Did she ever give you $300 to fix your car?
No, she didn't. What she did, Your Honor, she gave...
Look at me. Try looking at me. Don't you touch your papers.
I'm sorry. What she did is she gave me a Quest card. A Quest card is like a food stamp card to use to go shopping, because she gets like welfare.
So what you're telling me is she never gave you $300. She gave you a Quest card.
She gave me a Quest card. At that time, she did not have a job. So she said she's been using her credit card. So I gave her $154 to put on her credit card. And, Your Honor, I owe her about maybe $35, and I give her that right now.
Take it out of your wallet.
I think it's like... You want me to give it to her?
I want you to give it to Officer Bird.
It's like $30. Or did I say 35? 35.
You did say 35. Okay.
Receipt for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a receipt because I might have to come back for that. We might have to sue her again for that.
Thank you.
Now, you have a receipt for the television set?
No, ma'am. I don't have a receipt for that.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $269. It has a remote control on it.
And the phone?
And the phone I pay it's a cordless phone. I pay like $65 for that.
You have a receipt for that?
No, ma'am.
Well, you got a lot of problems without receipts, Mr. Ross.
I know. I didn't think that she would do this to me, Your Honor. I was trying to help her out.
Well, she did, Mr. Ross. So you're supposed to have receipts. Issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $275, and I am dismissing your counterclaim, Ms. Westfield. I don't believe that you loaned him any money, and the ring that you are demanding the return or value of, I believe you discarded, and he merely took it out of the garbage. Thank you very much. This case is over.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I knew I was gonna win.
I'm very upset.
Because she's been lying through this whole thing.
It was all just a big lie.
I tried to help her out, and it turned around and it bit me.
You know, he's making...
Ted Kelly is suing his granddaughter's friend, 18-year-old Nicholas Rundy, for crashing his car while driving intoxicated. Nicholas says the accident wasn't his fault.
Mr. Kelly, this is your...
granddaughter.
And you own a car?
Yes.
You let your granddaughter use the car?
Yes.
What kind of car is it?
It's a 2002 Pontiac Grand Am.
You're a very, very good grandpa.
Yeah, I try to be.
How many grandchildren do you have?
4.
Is this the oldest?
Yes.
You don't play favorites, do you?
Try not to.
Try not to. I know. Well, Mr. Rundy over here wrecked your car. And he says, it's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you wreck Mr. Kelly's car?
April 4th, I do believe.
At what time of the day or evening did you wreck his car?
Around 10 o'clock at night.
Where had you been earlier that evening?
Over at Alicia's house.
How many people were at Alicia's house?
Her, myself, Philip, and 2 of my friends.
So 1 girl.
1 girl.
And 4 boys.
4 boys.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ted Kelly claims his granddaughter's friend, 18-year-old Nicholas Rundy, wrecked his car during a night of drinking. Nicholas says Ted's granddaughter is also to blame.
Now, how old is Alicia?
18.
And who does she live with?
By herself.
By herself?
Mm-hmm.
What time did you get there?
8 o'clock, probably. She called Philip's cell phone to have us come over just to hang out.
Don't offer me any information that I didn't ask for, Mr. Rundy.
Ma'am.
I'll get all the information I need. At what time did you take Mr. Kelly's car?
9:30 or so.
How much had you been drinking?
A couple glasses of mixed drink.
Of what?
Rum, I do believe.
Who mixed them?
We did.
Who's we?
Me and Philip and everybody. They were pouring our own drinks.
Who mixed your drink?
Me.
And who mixed your second drink?
Myself.
And if you had a third drink, who would have mixed your third drink?
Myself.
Where did you get the mixers from?
We didn't have any mixers. We were just pouring them from the bottle.
Well, then that's not a mixed drink, unless you were mixing scotch and rye, and you weren't mixing alcohol, were you?
No.
Because that would have been really dumb.
Right.
So were you having straight drinks or mixed drinks?
Straight drinks.
So you had a few straight drinks, and you took the car about 9 o'clock at night. Who was in the car with you when you took it?
Philip.
And at what point did the car get wrecked?
Around 9:45, I do believe.
Did you receive any sort of citation that day from the police department?
No, ma'am.
Did the police arrive at the scene?
Yes.
Did they give you a breathalyzer test?
No.
Did they take you to a hospital?
No, they just questioned me about the car and arrested me for public intoxication.
So you didn't get a citation, you got arrested?
Yeah.
So if you got arrested for public intoxication, you must have been really drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
My father now.
Did your mother throw you out?
No, I had to move.
Why?
Wasn't doing the right thing in Indiana.
Is that where your mother lives?
Yes, ma'am.
So your mother had enough of you moved to?
Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Who does your father live with?
Himself and me and my brother.
And what are you doing in Florida now?
About to go to school and just looking
So
for a job
right now you're doing nothing?
Yeah.
About to go to school, about to get a job, right now you're doing nothing?
Yeah, I just moved down there.
Now, Mr. Rundy, you are going to explain to me, sir, why this accident was not your fault. Or please pay careful attention, because in case I miss something, I really want somebody to give me a poke to be able to say, you missed it, you know, you missed the important part.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
All right.
We're both all ears, Mr. Rundy.
I'm not trying to say that it's not my fault.
Well, that's what you said in the answer. You said, let me tell you what you said in the answer, Mr. Rundy,
Okay.
which caused me to do this torturing routine that I did for the last 5 minutes.
Right.
Alicia, the other 18-year-old idiot who was drinking that night with 4 guys, she's the reason why I had to go to jail. That's what you wrote here.
I didn't.
And had to take classes for first-time offenders. Did you have to take classes for
Yes,
first-time
I did.
offenders? I was surprised to learn that Mr. Kelly is suing me. Alicia should pay her grandfather for the money he is asking. Mr. Kelly is suing the wrong person. That's what you wrote. So now what you're telling me is that was all a big mistake?
No, it's not a big mistake. I feel she should have some responsibility in her car. I know what I did was wrong, and I know that, but...
She wasn't in the car.
She gave me the keys to her car, though.
Yeah.
So where's the responsibility come in at?
much do you weigh?
180.
You think that she could carry you, put you in the car, take your hand, put the key in the ignition,
I have no
turn
idea.
it on? You don't think she could do that, do you?
No.
Only you could do that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the one who poured your own alcohol.
Yes, ma'am.
You're the one who put the glass to your lips and guzzled it down.
Yes, ma'am.
You're the one that took you behind and put it behind the wheel of a car where you could have killed somebody.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're the one who's going to pay for Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, were you able to have the car fixed?
Yes, I was.
And how much did it cost you, Mr. Kelly?
Over $5,000.
You have the bill for it?
Yes.
Can I see it, please? Mr. Kelly, your granddaughter, Alicia, I must tell you, I believe, did not act responsibly that evening. That doesn't mean that he's off the hook. That just means that if I were you, I wouldn't give her back the car.
I'm sorry.
Did you give her back the car?
Yes, after I got it fixed.
That was a big mistake. I wouldn't have given her back the car. She behaved irresponsibly. You understand that, don't you?
Yes.
Taking advantage of your grandfather. I wouldn't let you take advantage of me. I'll tell you that right now. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Mr. Rundy, you better get busy and get back to Florida. Hurry up, hustle, get a job. Hustle, hustle, bustle.
All right.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Bridget Johnson claims ex-boyfriend Robert Jones owes for an assault and for funeral costs for their child. Robert claims the deceased child wasn't his.
Seat, please.
Miss Jones, according to the complaint that I've read, the defendant was your boyfriend. He became pregnant sometime in 2005.
Yes.
You broke up with the defendant and you were pregnant at the time.
Yes.
It is your claim that he assaulted you, and as a result of that assault, your baby was born prematurely and died. You want the defendant to pay for half of the baby's funeral expenses and damages for the assault.
Yes.
Mr. Jones says that you were the one who assaulted him, as a matter of fact, on the day that you broke up, that he never agreed to pay for the child's funeral expenses. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even positive that the child was his and told you that he had wanted a blood test before he assumed responsibility of the baby. That's your defense?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When did you become pregnant, Miss Johnson?
I found out I was pregnant July 22nd.
Of what year?
2005.
And were you living with Mr. Jones at the time?
Robert was staying with me along with his son because he was having arguments with his mother.
Did you move in with her in July or before that time?
I'll be staying over, you know.
You were staying over?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you break up?
November 20th as a result of the assault.
Just listen to me. Had he slept at the house the night before?
Yes.
And the night before that?
Yes.
So tell me what happened on November the 20th.
November the 20th, I received a phone call from Rob at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, then he hadn't been at your house 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, he was at the bars. He would frequently go to the bars and then come over to my house afterwards. And he had called me at 3 o'clock in the morning stating that he was going to come over. I ran downstairs and unlocked the door like I would usually do, and he didn't come in. So after a while, I looked out my window and saw that the car was parked and the headlights were on and the car was still running. So I laid there for a couple more minutes and then got dressed. And when I walked outside, I saw that Rob was passed out in the driver's seat. So I crawled into the passenger seat and woke him up and asked him, you know, what he was doing and why he hadn't come in the house, and he told me that he didn't know. So we were trying to get the headlights of the vehicle to turn off. They wouldn't turn off. So I suggested that we just unplug the battery. I was 5 months pregnant. I didn't want to be fighting with him. I would much rather just go to bed. He wanted me to, you know, be with him that night, and he wanted to be around me. So I stated, you know, let's just unplug the battery. We couldn't figure out the lights. So he started to proceed to back out of my driveway. I told him that he was drunk, that I didn't want to go anywhere with him. And he wasn't listening to me, so I leaned over and smacked him in the face. I went like this to the front of his face. He then looked at me, told me to do that again, and I looked at him and said, "What did you mean?" And the next thing I knew, he punched me in my face.
So first you punched him and then he punched you?
Yeah, I didn't punch him.
No, just a second. So first you punched him.
Yes.
And then he punched you.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it.
But the only reason I hit him is because he wasn't listening to me and he wouldn't stop the vehicle.
I got you.
So then my
She
nose...
wasn't listening to you.
Yes.
Why don't you just take the keys out of the ignition?
I didn't think of that.
You shouldn't have gotten in the car in the first place.
I shouldn't have told him to come over that evening.
That's also correct.
Knowing that he was drunk.
That is also correct.
Yes,
Okay,
I agree.
keep going.
I realized that my nose was bleeding very, very